my first paycheck was $100. And I told myself, so this is possible.
Yeah. It was like that.
I can do this full time. And I started pushing.
What gave you the resilience?
Poverty will give you the resilience. When you experience poverty at its high peak, you can't afford to give up.
Yeah.
You can't afford even to be depressed. I feel like hardship, we don't have to regret what we went through. We learn from that. We improve.
Yes.
We go forward.
And today we are here sitting with Kelvin Birioti. I'm so excited just to tap into his life as a YouTuber and content creator. And, that's how the journey has been so far for him. One thing that I can just say, this man is very humble. you know why I'll say that?
Yeah.
Because I gave you a call.
Yeah.
And you quickly responded to say, hey, dude, we can sit down, we can talk. Exactly. I can teach you a bit about what I know, in terms of the content creation space, because I'm also interested in that space. Obviously, as I do this podcast, I would want to do video, audio. So, it's humbling when you meet someone who then just say, hey, okay, cool, let's go for it. You can pick me up right now. Then it's 1 or 2 tips.
Yeah.
And definitely it helped me. One, I'm now using CapCut, for camera. Thank you very much. And another thing, I'm trying to work on my thumbnails and titles.
Exactly.
Yeah, so these are things that
Very
you have, you have just introduced to me. And sometimes they go down. But it's not working. So, yeah. So, Kelvin, tell us about your story. Who is Kelvin?
Yeah.
The story behind this man here.
So, for those who are watching me for the first time, my name is Kelvin Birioti, and I'm a content creator full time.
Yeah.
And I grew up in Chinhoyi, did my primary, secondary. But when it comes to at university level, I told myself I need to change environment. That's when I moved. I grew up in Chinhoyi.
Okay.
That's when I moved from Chinhoyi to Bindura. Imagine all the way from Chinhoyi to Bindura. I did my university there. But I had to drop out in my second year almost when I was about to go to attachment. Okay. And I dropped out because of financial problems at home. So instead of me going back to Chinhoyi, I told my dad that, look, you guys, I'm not going to come to Chinhoyi. I want to start a new life in Harare. And that's what happened. So when I was still at university, I knew content creation then, but I was not really serious about it. I was just doing it from here and there. But when I was in my second year, I started to be serious about content creation. Even when I'm in a lecture, I would be watching YouTube tutorials on how to really push my game to another level. And when I was still at university, I talked to other content creators that we have here in Zimbabwe, Kundai Chitima, and he was one of those people who told me, look, you can make money from this if you start being serious about it. And I did. So when I told Kundai that I dropped out and I'm about to go back to Chinhoyi, he said, no, you can come work for me. And from there, I worked for Kundai Chitima, and then when I was working for Kundai Chitima, and I was pushing my own grind, YouTube also. He allowed me. He gave me an opportunity and said, you know what, you can work for me, but at the same time, you can push your own YouTube channel. And I did. And it worked out well for me to the extent that I told him, look, I can now do my own thing. I don't think we should continue working together. And he said, that's what I wanted. I wanted you to do your own thing. I was just there supporting you. From there, the rest is history.
The rest is history, as they say.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me more about this apprentice, because it looks like, you had to, to work for someone to fully understand
exactly
the space, how it works. Tell me about that. Because I think a lot of people, we want to get into something, into business before we even understood, the gist, how business works, what it takes, and things like that. So tell me a little bit.
So when I was working for Kundai Chitima, I learned a lot, if I'm to be honest.
Okay.
if I had not met him, it was going to take me a while to reach a level where I am right now. Okay. Under him, that's when I did understand like the really concept of content creation. Okay. For example, he wanted me to make like 3 videos per day. And I thought it was impossible. Yeah. But I figured, you know what, it's doable. And I learned the fast-paced editing. And some of the skills that I learned under him, I applied them even up to now. Yeah. So it worked out well for me, and I learned a lot from him. How to upload, the time to upload. This is how you do your thing. This is how you don't offend other people on social media, especially when you're doing social commentary. Okay. So back then I was doing social commentary. I was not doing like what I'm doing right now. We were doing social commentary. Sorry. Bubblegum content, other people would say. Okay. Because it loses value very quickly there. Okay. And it keeps you busy. Okay. It keeps you busy. But along the way, I had to change. I had to change. So okay, you pivoted. All right, perfect. So, just what I want to just say is what I'm learning from this conversation that we're having is you at some point, you need to work under someone in order to gain the experience. Be it content creation, be it any part of the business that interests you, that you're passionate about. Exactly. You need to fall under a guidance of sorts. Yeah. And I think that when you're starting something, you're really excited. You're really excited, and the pace that you are applying is fast. When you're doing that, you are going to make a lot of mistakes along the way. But when you're working under someone who has got experience, who has been there for a while, you get to take things bit by bit and apply consistency, and that's the right way to do it. Yeah. And also what I'm getting from you, this is, when you are getting into the space of content creation, it's for the long haul. It's not like, okay, I need to make it a quick sensation. Yeah. Otherwise you get frustrated. You give up very quickly. Content creation is not for the weak. Because at the end of the day, you're being attacked on social media. Okay. One thing that social media has taught me, content creation has taught me, is integrity. Number one, like if you really want to build a brand, a recognizable brand that will stand the what do you call it? The cause, what? The test of time. Test of time. Yeah. You have to have integrity, and another thing, you have to be that person who knows that no matter what you do, even if you do right or wrong, people are always going to attack you. So just be you and focus on your grind. And that's it. You have to be consistent. If you are not, you're going to give up. Yeah. And also, I think another aspect is about authenticity, being yourself. Thank you. As you do this whole journey, sometimes you're trying to make in that figures like is everything working out? But that's very important. That's be yourself. Yeah. For me, I used to be that person. When I used to stay in Chinoy, I used to stay at a house that was not really good looking. Okay. And it was really bad, And when I was shooting my videos, I would try by all means to hide some of the things. And me not realizing that, look, if you don't fake your life and be true to yourself and to people who are watching your videos, you'd see that it will be good for you, even for your health. Yeah. I'm telling you, you can't fake something for a long time. Yeah. And if you manage to do that, it's destroying you inside. Oh, that's correct. It's hard to fake something. Yeah. It's not easy. Yeah, it's not. It's not. True and true. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. Going back to dropping out from college. Yeah. In other places, maybe the first one they drop out because they want to start a business. But for you, I think it was more situational. Yeah. So here's the thing when it comes to me. I'm that kind of person who don't give up very quickly. Okay. But when it comes to university life, when I was told like, look, we seem to be struggling here and there when it comes to I said, okay, I'm gonna give up. But I feel like inside me I could have done something and find the finances to finance my university journey. Yeah. But I gave up to pursue this content creation. So somehow sometimes I think I made a choice. It's not like financial problems. Yes, they were there. They were there, yeah. But I made a choice to say, I love YouTube. I love content creation. I'm gonna pursue it. And that's what I did. That's what I did.
That's amazing, because you see, even through the situations that we experience in life, we still have a choice.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you are in life, where you're coming from.
Yes.
It's broken, it's not rosy, everything is bumpy, but you can make a decision to where you want to take your life, the next step of your life. Because where you start off is not where you're going to end up.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Amen to that.
That's what I hear from
Zimbabweans are very strong, but like
true and true. True and true. Yeah.
They go through all the trouble, all the bad situations in life, but they barely reach a level where they say, I'm giving up and I'm just going to be depressed and staying at home, taking alcohol. With the situation that we are in right now in Zimbabwe, I would say I would applaud every Zimbabwean who is really grinding, trying to make ends meet and take care of family. Because it's not easy. I still remember when I was still at university, there were certain times that I would not go to a lecture because I don't have shoes. Yeah. Like my dad would tell me a week from now I would send him money to buy shoes. It was really bad. So you see that parents, what they go through for their kids, it's a lot. It's not easy.
Yeah. I'm sure it also stresses them because what they want is always the best for their kids. And it's very encouraging, like where you're coming from and the resilience that you've shown in your journey, to make your own man and to continue on this journey of content creation.
Yeah.
So tell me, how long have you been doing it? And, obviously, I just wonder, after you have left, your apprentice and now you're at it alone.
So I started to be serious after working for Kundai. I started to be serious about content creation. That was 2021. Okay. Yeah, 2021. That's when I started pushing. So you could see that within 4 years, I feel like the pace that I'm moving in right now is not fast, it's slow, but I'm getting there. So I started content creation in 2016. But I was doing it from here and there. I was just posting a clip here, and then after some months, I posted another one. But 2021, after working for Kundai for like a year, that's when I started to really start taking it seriously and pushing it.
And this is over 5 years of doing this stuff here.
And when I monetized, that's when I recognized, like, look, I can really start making money. I withdrew like $100 from my first paycheck was $100. And I told myself, like, so this is possible.
It looks like that.
I can do this full time. I can do this full time. And I started pushing. And from there, I never looked back.
Okay.
So
amazing. It's always the journey that is exciting. Hence, this program start to finish. You start something, but you have to see it through all the way. There's always a process in the middle. Someone could have given up, but you're still standing on it. And I'm sure 5 years ago, this thing was not a job.
In Africa, everyone was looking at content creation like a side hustle. Even when I met my girlfriend, when you go out, people don't look at you as someone who's going to work. They look at you as someone who's just going out there. But for me, this is my job. This is my full-time job. Another thing that I've noticed, I could not afford to be depressed, or I could not afford to give up. That's the thing. Like the resilience that we have as Africans, we can't give up sometimes. We can't afford to give up.
True.
If you give up, then what? Then what? So when I did face a lot of challenges when I was doing content creation, when I was starting, like you could post a video in 18 hours, it is like 2 views. One is you, and maybe your friend is the one watching. Other people,
and they don't watch it even to the end.
Exactly. So for me, I had no alternative. I had to push my grind. And at the end of the day, it started paying off. And I'm so grateful to God.
Okay.
At the end of the day, I always pray, God, give me the strength and the courage to keep on pushing. You as an individual, you can't pull through. And other people, what I've noticed is that they touch here. If it doesn't work, they move from that. They go and touch another thing. Yeah, true. And I had to learn some of this stuff when I was interviewing farmers also. Like farmers have the resilience and the integrity. I'm telling you, they'll experience a huge loss. They'll learn from those mistakes and perfect their land. So I think we should do that. Yeah, we should do that. And like what you're saying, that's the journey now. You see, anyone who touches and give up, they are not really serious about life and what they want to accomplish. I feel like Zimbabweans, Africans in general, we are resilient on wrong things. We put our effort so much on wrong things. When I say that, we want instant gratification. Zimbabweans have the resilience, but the resilience is being applied on instant gratification, on hustles that quickly fade away. Bubblegum hustles, true. But if we can apply that resilience on my hustle, that I know that 5 years from now, the returns are going to start coming 5 years from now, I think we'd be somewhere else. But you could see that someone focuses on a grind that won't last. They give it their all, but it's a grind that is actually going to give them less. And it's a short-term thing. The resilience is there, but the focus is on the wrong thing. Yeah. And, as you're talking, I think knowledge then becomes power. As you are doing what you are doing, are you developing the right knowledge? Are you educating yourself in the right? Obviously, maybe you can start off at the wrong thing, but if you continue learning and developing, then that's what I did. You then get in the right trajectory. Exactly, that's what I did. For me, when I started content creation, I barely knew anything. As you go, you just make sure that your last video, you learn from that, and your next video has to be better than your last video. So if people can apply that in everything that they do, and saying, we made a mistake there, here, we learn from that, and we perfect our grind, we perfect our business, and we go forward. That's the best way. Yeah, and no one is succeeded by giving up. Everyone has succeeded world over. They never give up. They kept pushing, kept doing what they're supposed to do at the end of the day. And the exciting thing for me about that space is, there's always this sixth sense that just tells you, what, keep going, don't give up. One day you wake up and say, I was around. But it just pushes you to just keep pushing and pushing until you get the results. Yeah, that you want. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so tell me about your upbringing and what gave you the resilience. We're talking about you saying, I don't give up. Poverty will give you the resilience. When you experience poverty at its high peak, you can't afford to give up. You can't afford even to be depressed. We grow up in a household where you could see that your mother is not feeling well, but she's pushing, she's going out there grinding. You see your father, like when he's standing up, you could see that, hey, something is troubling him. But the effort that he puts in his grind for things to go well for him, for things to go well for you as a family. So you grow up with that mentality of saying, wait, I can't afford to give up. I can't afford to sit down. When I get tired, I'll reduce the speed a little bit, take it lower, and then from there I go forward. Yeah, true. I can't say that. My dad was a civil servant. Okay. He retired recently. I can't say that life was that bad. Yeah. But before him becoming a civil servant, life was really tough. I used to walk like 8 kilometers to school. You get there, you're tired. You sleep in class. People don't know that at the end of the day, it affects your mentality, your performance at school. I mean, we are not the same at school. Yes. I'm coming from a home that is 8 kilometers away, and barely I don't do well at school. So if I'm walking 8 kilometers and my mind is slow and I'm getting there, so you could say, and teachers back then, they would not really focus on children who are doing well. You would be told to sit back there. Group 6, group 7. The focus on those. Group 1 was that group that was close to the teacher. The focus was there. Those kids who are bright. But you are back there. So I started to be serious, about my education when I was in grade 6. But you'll be struggling from. I started knowing how to read even when I was in grade 5. I would pick up papers and start reading. When you start being serious about something, it goes well. It goes, yeah, it goes well. But life was not really perfect. I would probably say we were average. We were. Yes, that was life.
No, that's fine. There's always something that pushes you. It just reminded me of a story. I have a friend of mine who grew up in Bari. Right now he's Zambinga.
Exactly.
Zambinga, Zokutodaro.
He stays where? He stays here.
No. He's now in Mount Pleasant, Borodo, somewhere there. But, when he was telling me his story and how they used to stay, and how, luckily enough, when he went to school, they were still paying people at Polytech, you would get some money, that sort of thing. So from there, you would walk from Bari, go to school, clean up his shoes, people would not even notice that he's coming from that place. So the little money that he was making, then he was now saving it up and start giving my loans. There's always someone who wants $1, $2, then they will pay you back at the end of the month when they get their allowances. Started building his income that way. And eventually the rest is history. His life is amazing.
Yeah. What I've noticed in life is that poverty will make you appreciate small things in life.
Yeah, true.
And that's really, I feel like if you go through that and when you grow up, you gain exposure. It's really good for you. Someone told me that I watched someone who said that you are poor today so that tomorrow you will know what it means to be poor.
Yes. Yeah.
When you see someone, you can quickly relate. Other people who were born with a silver spoon, when they see someone who is experiencing poverty, they don't know the feeling.
Don't understand.
When they see you cry, they can't relate. They don't feel anything. But if you have experienced the poverty when you were young, or even when you were an older person, when you see someone without food, you rush. Please, I want you to eat. So you appreciate. I feel like hardship, we don't have to regret what we went through. Yes, we don't have to. We learn from that. We improve. We go forward. We appreciate people. Poverty will make you appreciate people. You barely see someone who have experienced poverty have pride. So,
and the thing is, where you come from is not where you're going to end up. Everyone is time. I always talk about time. I like that subject so much because everyone is time. You see, so the guy who has, they may not know how to use their time. And the one who doesn't have, and they know they want their lives to change. Every minute and every hour is used to generate value for them.
One of the things that I've recognized here in Africa that used to not to be there is that we are now living a life where everyone for himself and God for us all. Of which is a wrong mentality. Goma, you are blessed so that you can bless others.
Yes, true.
But right now we're living in a world where we don't sympathize or have mercy on those who don't have. It's really bad. When things are going well for you, you should not be in a comfort zone and say, I can relax now. Things are going well for me. Look around you and see who is in need. It's now your responsibility to uplift those who are around you. Ubuntu. The wound of one is the wound of all. That's how it's supposed to be. But I don't think it's still the same. We're losing our way. We're moving away from God. I'll probably say these are end days. So it's bad.
No, I mean, there's a lot of selfishness in the world, as you've rightly said. Very true. I'm sure your journey could have been difficult if Chitima had not given you the platform. You see? So sometimes it's about, it's not really about maybe giving money as per se, but just finding other ways of just supporting.
He was renting for me, buying me food.
Wow.
He was doing everything. One of the days he came, I think it was 11 p.m. He drove his car, he came to where he was renting for me and said, "Young man, as I'm looking at you, you don't have any responsibility yet. And I encourage you to put your things in order." That's when he told me to read this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Okay.
I read the book and it opened my eyes in different ways. So having someone who can guide your steps in different areas, that's a blessing that we underestimate sometimes.
Yes, yeah.
And it's bad. Yeah. So
no, it's necessary to to have someone in your corner who then directs you, who gives you the right foundation.
Yeah.
Now you were introduced to books. Yeah. You were introduced to learning. And I'm a big advocate for learning. I don't think we give ourselves so much to learn just towards either. We are always like if we're on YouTube, we go scrolling. It's not really learning anything that's really valid for us.
I used to be that person who don't like reading, but now I changed my perspective. People think that after finishing school, you are not supposed to read.
Exactly.
You're not supposed to increase your knowledge. But I beg to differ because learning, reading books, especially books, it will open your mind. You will not you will not be that person when people are arguing, people want to beat each other. I always tell people that when you're seeing two people fight, like at each other's throat, and if you are given an opportunity to talk to them and ask them if they read books, you barely see they won't even tell you. They don't.
Yes.
They don't.
Yeah.
People who have gained exposure, who have read books, who are trying to increase their knowledge, they will not just speak. They will not just get into fights. They are very organized. Even if they don't have money, if they can afford $100 a month, you would see that they're not greedy and they don't speak bad about other people. So I encourage people to read. I encourage people to read.
Yeah. It's a gateway to success. Yeah. We don't understand how reading and just learning. I'm not talking about having a degree or some accolades. I'm just talking about proper learning. Exactly. You want to learn a skill, don't go on the internet and just picking up of these new skills. You want to learn a new language. It has been so easy now, to learn than back in the day.
Another thing that I want to talk about is that people of today underestimate God.
Yes.
I interviewed a lot of people. I've interviewed people who have money. And what I've noticed is that those who have lived in poverty, sometimes when they get an opportunity to be rich or to be financially stable, they forget about God. Yeah. They focus on their grind to understand that they no longer want to include God in their lives. Yeah. I met those people. Then I met people who are wealth. People who have wealth. What I've realized is that they put God first.
Yes.
I went to Victoria Falls and I met the owner of this beautiful restaurant. Okay. And she was talking about God. In my mind, I was like, this person has got money and they're putting God first. Me, I don't have money. And I'm not putting God first. Yeah. It's like she realized that I might have these riches, but if I don't have Jesus Christ, I'm lost. Yes. I'm lost. Yeah. So our focus sometimes as poor people, we focus on wrong things. And then the Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and everything will be added unto you. Yeah. We forget that aspect. We focus on our grind. Yeah. Not putting him in front of us to help us in our grind.
To guide us.
We forget so quickly. I met not only her, I met a lot of people who are wealthy. When we are eating, They will pray.
They will pray first.
They will pray first. I went to Vumba. I met the owner of this hotel. I will say his name because he's a brother of mine. He's the owner of King's Courtyard Hotel in Vumba.
Okay.
You know, dessert came. And what do starters? They came, he prayed. Me, when I'm eating, I just eat.
You just dig in there.
Yeah. But he prayed. He's the owner of this beautiful, huge restaurant. Yeah. But he's praying. But Peter, in Chitungwiza, when he's eating, he barely prays. People forget that in every situation, you need God. That is why, if I'm not mistaken, the Bible says, pray without ceasing.
Yes, true.
Which means all the time, when you're eating, pray. When you're walking, pray. In your mind, you are able to pray. And right now, I'm able to pray and talk to you. It's possible, but we don't do that. We focus on wrong things. I urge people to focus on God.
Yeah. And, where do you find your faith? How do you develop faith? Obviously, from what we're talking about, you develop it by believing in something, in a higher power. In our case as Christians, believe in God.
Yes.
So, we look up to that, and we look into His word and what His word tells us.
Yeah.
Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. How do you arrive there? You arrive there by trusting in that higher power to say, I know you will take me to where I want to get to.
What I do for me, sometimes before I really like starting doing well on YouTube, I used to sit down and think about what God has done for me. All the hardships, all the near-death experience. Remember, I'm sure a lot of people went through that.
Yes, yeah.
I encourage people that sometimes before you pray, you think about what God has done for you. I used to be, there was a time that I experienced hardship in my life and I started asking questions to God. I was crying, why is this happening to me? Why? I was blaming God. Why am I experiencing this? That moment, I felt something like, I'm always going to be there for you. I have been there for you.
Yes, true.
From that moment, I told myself, I'll never blame God for everything that I go through.
Yes.
So I'm now that person who says, whether God helps me or not, is my God.
Yes.
Whether this happens to me or my family or in my world, it doesn't change.
Yeah.
He is my God. I worship Him. I will pray to Him. It doesn't change.
That's true.
Other people are moving now. If bad things happen to them, they're saying, oh, so God is not there. We should be careful of the things that we say. Because Baba God is not a small, it's not a small. I feel like we don't know God. If you know God, if you read your Bible very well, you will be afraid to make. You make a mistake, you feel it. Say, these things I'm not supposed to do these things. But people, they're drifting away from God, so this is really bad.
Yeah.
For us, humankind is really bad. Yeah.
Wow. This is a conversation.
Yeah.
And now we are preaching. But at the end of the day, I think it's the word that people need, so that they find their footing, in the presence of God and live a righteous life.
Yeah, we should. Yeah. We should do that. The mistakes that we are making is that we face hardship and then we think that God is not there. We think that God is not there, but He is there. Given an opportunity that He opens your eyes. Where is this person in the Bible who was opened?
Is it, I think
he was with Elisha. Exactly.
Elisha or Elijah.
Yes, you are afraid. Now you are panicking. And all the Chile, lot of rebels is so
they are bigger and greater.
I always say this. People underestimate the power of God. One, I'll give an example. I think Elijah was not, Elijah was the one who was taken to heaven.
Yes.
Elisha was the one who died. Someone was killed and was thrown in the grave of Elisha. And this person was dead. But the moment that this person was in contact with the bones of Elisha, what happened? They rose back to life. Thank you. Yeah. Dry bones will rise again. So the hints are everywhere in the Bible. If you read your Bible and you're looking at your business and say, things are not going well. Me, I've experienced the power of God. Things are wrong down. Things they are down there. You just receive a call and you are just revived just like that. That is the power of God. True. So we should look at a bigger picture and start even appreciating God and thank you, Jesus Christ. Even things are not going well. Yeah, true. So yeah. There's a certain transformation that happens as you rightly said, when you believe in a higher power, when you believe in God. Yeah, God. When you put all your trust in Him, Jesus Christ, then the game will change. It will. Yeah. It changed for me. Yeah. It changed for me. And another thing, we don't practice gratitude. Thank you. We are always like, why didn't you do this for me now? God, but you don't look back from where you have come from, what God has taken you through, the places He has taken you out from. I think at some point it's important just to say, okay, fine, no situation in Zimbabwe. This is where I am today. But you know what? Thank you. I'll still trust in you because I know back then I was in this trouble and you took me out of it. So gratitude becomes very important to practice every other day. When you wake up in the morning, when you look at your family, you're breathing, you're alive. It's good to be grateful. People underestimate being healthy. Yeah. They underestimate that. The value of health. Yeah, true. We underestimate Baba God. We should stop. Yeah, true. Anyway, tell me about you got married and and did what you did, and you as a content creator, this is your livelihood. Yes. Exactly. And they're looking at my in-laws. Saka, what do you do? I'm a content creator. People don't understand. How does that work now? So you are jobless. People don't understand. But my in-laws never say that. But you can see that they don't understand. True. But they never really look at it and look down upon it. But they just look at you as a ghetto youth. Because here in Africa, we need to see you wearing a suit. Yeah. To actually pinpoint and say, oh, wow, he's doing well. Because when you see me like this, you barely think that he's got a business that is doing well. Yeah. So for me, I now have a family, and by God's grace, things are going well, and it's awesome. Yeah, because at the end of the day, when you have a family, when you're trying to build a family, you receive attacks from every angle, and most of the time, marriages break because of simple misunderstandings. Yeah. So praying for your marriage, praying for your family. The devil doesn't want to see a happy family, a successful family. He's always going to come and attack. He's always going to find a weakness, either you as a man, your weakness, and your wife's weakness. So praying for your weaknesses as a couple, that's one of the important things. Because if you don't, attack from every angle. One thing that I've noticed is someone who now has got a family, a wife, when you get married, your wife comes with certain blessings. When you were struggling in certain areas, you see that things will start going well for you. That's your other half. You are now one, which means you are now stronger. Two are better than one. It is so powerful. Okay. And we should not underestimate the power of marriage. And marriage is truly an achievement. People underestimate it and say, I wonder what is an achievement. Baba, marriage is an achievement. People underestimate being lonely. Being lonely is not good. But having a partner that you laugh with, joke around with, troubles will come. Troubles will come, but just having a partner, growing all together. I'm in my third year now. And yes, we did face our challenges, but what I'm happy is that we are learning from our challenges. And you could see even my wife, she's saying, now we faced this before. We don't want to go through it again. We should not use our emotions here. We should use our brains. And it's working well for us. Okay. And by God's grace. And why did you marry her? You are on your way to. I want to see my kids grow. How old are you now? I'm 27 now. 27. Okay. I'm 27 now. And no, it's a good time to get married. Some of us, we got married in our 30s. So it comes with this all other baggage. But like what you're saying, you want to see your kids grow and I want you walk the journey. Exactly. Yeah. It's not easy, honestly, getting married at a young age. It's only one sekuru. Mwana ataza kumira padhuze wekavachena aswaende kuzakuchena apa a young but kid. There is maturity, What I love is when you get married in your 30s, there is sort of like that maturity that someone who is in their 20s don't have. When you are in your 20s, I think that's one of the challenges that I faced. Like there is not that maturity to really handle situations. We learned it the hard way. Okay. But by God's grace, we did not really face like deeper challenges. It was those simple challenges that those who are in their 30s, when they hear those challenges, they say, you kids, you call this a challenge. It's not like one of you is cheating or anything. You're fighting over peanuts. You're fighting over this. So getting married young comes with challenges. One of those challenges is lack of maturity of how to handle situations, how to handle finances. But it's really good for me. I would say it's an achievement and I love it. And I'll do it again if I had. Wow. That's good. That's awesome. Yeah. I think at the end of the day, one of the most important things is also, I think, mentorship. Yes. You get married. You'd rather have people like now, you have people that you spoke to. I know it's more issues. It also helps to shape you. That person doesn't have to be family. Trust me, when you include family in personal issues and the problems, they'll use that against your partner. And you might get along with your partner, but them relatives, when you tell them your problems, they will always think that the problems are still there. Yeah. So there is always going to be that negative aspect. When they look at you, they say, that person. So we learned that also, like, if we want to find someone who we tell our problems, it has to be someone outside of in most cases outside of family, maybe church but you always want a couple that is really grounded that then don't exactly. So now for me, especially now I'm a public figure, I would say. Yes. I'm not going to be that person who even tell people like finds people out there to tell my problems. I'm just going to keep it to me and my wife and say, this is how. Because you don't know what people are going to do tomorrow. They make a video about you and say, you see that Kelvin Birioti? I know everything about him. I will tell you. So I don't want that. Then what about putting your family on the spotlight? How are you balancing it up? Because so for me, it's business. Yeah. For me, honestly, people say, don't put your wife on social media. They'll snatch her from you. For me, content creation is business. If I'm showing my wife on social media, it means that money is being generated. And there is a certain procedure that I am following, and it's going well for me. For me. And there are boundaries. And my wife understands how it works. I taught her. At first, she did not understand how even social media works and how even I'm getting paid. So she was like hesitant. Am I good to go? But I'm happy that she never really like questioned it much. But when she started seeing the money, like, so tell me more. I need to know. Yeah. Because content creation is funny. You can make money you can make like $200 in 5 minutes. Yeah, you can. Yeah. Someone calls you. I want you to your project that you did. Can you include an activate for me? And here is $300. Just mention me like 10 seconds. And I'm editing. I'll just put my phone here and record. So this company is that and that and the offer is I'm done.
Okay.
And then I'm back. I love the flexibility with my job. I can leave wherever I want. If I want to move to Victoria Falls tomorrow, I can go there and work there. So the flexibility, I love it. I'm grateful to God.
Okay. And, obviously, when I look at you, I think just from talking to you before this interview, I think you were staying in Chitima. You showed your story. You moved into a new apartment, but it's not all flamboyance. You don't have a car right now.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm not just saying this, to
no. I want you to
share,
say it,
but but this is where you are. Eventually, I know these things you get.
Exactly.
And, I think we were talking. So so this car, what does it? Does it work? You're asking questions.
Yeah,
try.
I was asking questions.
Yeah.
I think
you're asking about the house.
Yes.
Yeah, how much does it cost?
Exactly. So that's the thing. For me, I have to make sure that if I'm buying something, it has to be an asset. So now the reason why I was asking for a car, like the prices, and you have got experience. I was asking the reason being that now I need a car. Now it's an asset now. It's not going to be a liability.
True.
And now I'm also looking at my family, like I've got a family now, I have to look at a house also. So if I'm to look at me, myself, I'd rather invest back in my business other than anything else. For example, I'm using like the 16. Other people say, you can't buy a 16 Pro Max and yet you are boarding a combi.
Yeah.
Me, I'll board a tractor or using a 16 Pro Max because this is an asset.
That's your asset to you.
It has generated, I bought it like last year. It has generated more than, I bought it in December last year. It has generated, if I'm not mistaken, almost to 10,000 years. Wow. So that's I call it an asset to me. You see? Yeah. And my equipment, if you see my rig you will see that probably we are sitting on 4 to 4.5 US dollars. The only equipment, I've got like a computer like this and I bought it like 1.6.
That's the range.
At first my wife was looking at me like, hey, this man is buying a lot of these things. But I'm happy that she understands and she's now using the same equipment. She's now even telling me, I think this one is no longer good. I think we should upgrade it. But now for me, I now need a car. I'm working on that because there are certain areas that I need to go to and I can't with the combi.
But, so I just want to just a follow-up question.
Yeah.
What is your mindset? Obviously you're not going luxurious, but you are making the money. You're talking about the phone just made you 10K.
Exactly.
Which means you could have decided to buy a car just like that.
Exactly.
You can decide to move into an expensive apartment just like that. What is the mindset like?
So here's the thing. Last year,
how is that kept you grounded, or having this objectivity to just say, this is where we are.
So the thing is, I've told myself that everything that I'm going to involve myself, it has to be an asset. If I'm buying something, it has to be an asset. If it's a phone, it has to be an asset. Last year, I traveled to Malawi, Zambia, and I invested in that. I wanted to buy a car. When I came back, I wanted to buy a car. I was telling myself on my way from Malawi to Zimbabwe, like, if I get there, I'm buying a car. And then I realized, I'll be traveling soon. I'll be going to Kenya, Ghana, and I'm going to spend like 6 months traveling. And then I said, if that money that I want to buy a car, if I invest it back, because if I buy a car and just live it in Harare and then travel, it means that 6-7 months, no one is driving the car. It's not even generating me revenue. So I said, you know what, I'll invest it back, and then when I've settled, I'll then buy a car. So the mindset now is, it's really complicated. The way I do my things, I don't do like
it's God. Like you say.
Yeah, it's God. And I always pray for consistency. I always pray for the ability not to give up. Because sometimes what we go through as content creators, it's not easy. The reason being that if I were to look at a situation here in Zimbabwe, what I do, the kind of content that I create, I interview farmers, entrepreneurs, but with where things are going right now in Zimbabwe, no one wants to come on social media. Hey, I've got a business and it's going well for me. They're afraid. I don't know why. But so to really find people to work with and even to interview, it's now starting to get hard. Okay. And I'm even thinking of going abroad, like even Europe, and spend like 2-3 weeks there, interview diasporans, and interview other people who've got businesses there. That way, it's easier. That is why you see on my channel, the bigger chunk is diasporans. From UK to opening a business. Someone who's doing business in Zimbabwe will never come on camera and say, this is my business. No. Even those famous people that you see, who've got business that you know, but for them to actually invite a content creator or allow a content creator and say, come into, nah, they won't do that. Okay. Yeah.
And when talking about investing back in business, I think it's one of the most noble and important things. Very about growing your brand.
Yeah. It's a very
biggest challenge with Africa or Africans. You start making a little bit of money from your business. Number one, maybe women. Number two, you just start spending, build a house here, take the money, the income from the business, and do other things that you're not supposed to be doing. So I find that to be very important as you are establishing a business, just to make sure plow back. Yeah, you make an extra, put it back.
Sorry to cut you.
Yeah, sure.
There are certain content creators here in Zimbabwe. They've got like more. Do you know when you are growing, when you reach 10,000 subscribers, you now have to have equipment that goes along with the level that you
want to get to. Yes.
You can't have big, huge subscribers and you're still using the same equipment that you were using when you had 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
We have people who are still doing that. That is why you see that the channel can have like the subscribers that I have, and they are having like less than 5,000 views on a video. Okay. That is a very wrong concept. People don't want to learn. They don't want to improve.
Yeah.
You content creation business is telling you we are growing. Invest back in us. Find people who can help you. So we're getting there bit by bit.
Yeah, slow. Yeah. I think it's always putting back. I think it becomes very important. Any business, anyway, you just want to make sure you make the necessary improvements that allow your business to grow.
Yeah, true.
So, what are some of the challenges that you faced on this journey? I'm sure we've touched on a number, but they're specific to you that you think maybe another content creator can learn from. And how do you pivot to make sure
the biggest challenge is not having the ability to learn and improve. People are scared to learn new things that can help their channel or their business to grow. Okay, that's number one. Number two, the biggest challenge is that as Zimbabwe as a population, we have a population of less than 20 million. And the bigger chunk, probably like 70-75%, they are not on the internet. So which means if I create a YouTube channel, to really like grow fast, and yet our population that is on the internet is small. Even when you are creating good content, there's always going to be less people watching content. That is why you see a lot of people are not creating. When you look at Zimbabwe and pinpoint and say, oh, we've got like a big content creator, even a musician. We don't have a musician that has 1 million subscribers on YouTube. And yet we are saying we have big musicians as well. That is to tell you something. So imagine a mere content creator. So it's not going to be easy. So data challenges for the bigger chunk of Zimbabweans, and yet we are a small population.
Okay. And what is your definition of success? I know other
peace.
Okay, go for it.
Peace.
Okay.
I know that people success for me, yes, you can have the riches and but not have peace of mind. For me, honestly, if I can be able to put food on the table for my family and have peace of mind, and someone told me that the richest man on earth is a man who has got a happy family and who is able to put food on the table for his family, who is able to take care of his family. It doesn't have to be much, but just making your wife and your kids laugh, spending some quality time with them.
Yes.
Other people out there. The reason why I'm pushing so hard to make this money that I want to make is I want to reach a level where I will be able to take care of my family without raising so a finger. So for me, to me, being rich, being successful is having peace of mind. A lot of people underestimate peace of mind. So for me, peace of mind is huge. Yeah, it's huge.
Okay.
It's huge.
Wow. So, and what are your parting words to someone who wants to try the space of content creation? Maybe just one or two lessons that you can just tell them.
Yeah.
In terms of tips,
Guys,
you would say.
Focus on your thumbnails. Make sure that you upgrade them. Make sure that you perfect them. Focus on your titles. Your title and your thumbnail, they have to create suspense to make someone click. You see, because they are very important. They are like 70% in terms of importance. 30% is so that's and consistency. Give your time to learn and be creative. Always be creative. Yeah. 3-4 years down the line, make sure that you evolve as a content creator. Yeah. If you don't evolve, you're going to struggle. And even less, 2 years evolve. For example, you are into podcast. Yes. When you're evolving, you don't have to move away from podcast. But evolve, maybe you have a fact checker now. We're sitting here, and she or he is contributing also. Yeah. So we have to make sure that we evolve. We have to make sure that the way we do things, we improve. Okay. So those are my words of encouragement. And put God first. Honestly, yeah, that's the most important part. Kumusha kwenye kune mwenye manzira itombode kuona uchibudirira apo content inobhadhara saka vanotopitsika manzira. The things that we regard as not important, as not spiritual, for example social media, we think that it's not spiritual. Those are the most in life. Everything that you look at and say, this is not spiritual. Yeah. Those things are very spiritual. They are very spiritual. I'll give you a good example. Let's say you have an idea. And say, I have this idea of buying a car or of buying a hotel. If you tell me, and then if I feel jealousy, and if I look down upon it and say, that idea might not come to life. It's true. Because jealousy actually is something that is wrong. Even without telling you spiritually, I don't buy them. So put God first in everything. Pray for your videos. Pray for your viewers. God, yes. When people are watching my videos, may they learn. May they come back. Yes. So yeah, tweet us. Okay. Thank you very much for an amazing interview. I'll say thank you for the opportunity. Into your life. Yeah. And where you are at the moment. And currently, I think you are sitting on over 142,000 followers. Yeah. So this guy is gunning for big things, which is amazing. And we'll continue to support each other in the space. I think it's very important. True. That is very. And I was doing my research. I don't know if you know this. The content creation space in Africa, the market, the market size right now as of 2025 is sitting at $5 billion US dollars. That's how big this space is. Yeah. And growing at about 28% per year. People don't know that even here in Zimbabwe, the people who are making on YouTube alone, the people who are making like 10 grand, 10,000 years on YouTube. By just posting videos on YouTube. So people underestimate social media. I always look at business people, companies. They barely understand how powerful social media can be to push their business. Their brand. Yes, true. And if they get an opportunity to work with brand, for example, if it's a farming company, they work with skit makers, which is to show that they don't understand how social media works. Yes. They look at a skit maker and say, they've got like 600,000 followers. Let's work with them. Maybe we can get clients. You are a farming company. Why are you working with a skit maker? And then they look down upon a content creator who has got 10,000 followers, who is into the same niche that farming content. Yes. You can get a lot from that content creator more than someone who is big, who's doing different things. True. So I feel like we now need to expand in terms of how we approach social media. Yeah. Not telling you
Yeah, no, it's big business, and for those who want to be part of the whole market, I think there's always something. Maybe you are not a good orator, but there's always something that you can. Right now in the States, there's someone who just do thumbnails. Exactly. Only that's their business. Me, I'm looking for an editor, someone who knows how to edit. We don't have those. Yeah, we have people who went to school, yes, for media and that kind of stuff. Yeah. But the way we want it done, I feel like they've learned, yes, they went to school for it. Yes. But they've learned the traditional media. They've learned how to work with those big cameras, like the formal way. But look at me. I'm going to be your boss, yes. Yes. But it has to be casual. We need casual, yeah. I know how it's done. So it's hard to find someone who can work with. And because I think it's important to find someone with vision and who buys into what you're doing. Exactly. Yeah, and it's always for the long term at the end of the day. Imagine someone who makes thumbnails, just making a lot of money doing that. Just a picture. So I always tell people that everyone can be I always tell people everyone is a content creator. You can have your business. It may be a farm. Yeah. Just wake up and say, hi guys. It's no longer hard to find market. Oh yeah, definitely. Hi guys, so as you can see, these are my pigs. Yes. And I'm selling them maybe a month from now. So for those who are interested, just get in touch with me a month from now. Yeah. This is how I take care of them. As you can see, the food that I've feeded them, it's organic. The reason being that when you are eating, I will always want you to eat healthy. Yeah. So by doing that, you are emotionally connecting. Yes. With the client. Yes. With the client, when they want to buy pork, they'll think about you. They'll come. Yeah. Because right now, content is king, and the world has changed. A billboard no longer sells. Where are people hanging out? And in most times, they're hanging out on the social platforms. Yeah. So if you place yourself there and start giving the benefits of your business to this bigger market, then eventually it starts paying off. Maybe it may not pay off in the short term, but eventually you will start seeing good results out of it. Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us from start to finish. We hope to see you next time, and we truly believe that this conversation has changed your life if you've seen to the end of this video. So do like, subscribe, share. Peace out. Yeah.